Welcome back to the FIT40 Podcast, where we simplify exercise and nutrition for busy parents 40 plus so they can improve their health and feel amazing. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach for people over 40 since 2015. And today we have an awesome topic on deck. We are going to talk about how to lose belly fat after menopause. Now, we're going to talk about why belly fat feels harder to lose after menopause, the hormonal shifts and everything like that. But we're going to make sure that by the end of this, you don't feel helpless. Geez, I can't say the word helpless. We're going to make sure that you feel empowered to make some changes in your life that are going to help you get the results that you want if this applies to you. But before we do that, let's take a brief moment to pause and make sure that if you aren't already, go ahead and hit that follow or subscribe button so that way you can keep catching the episodes wherever you're watching or listening every single week, and you will be able to get this awesome information. So now that you've done that, let's get into it. Now, before I dive in, let me just say, yes, I completely acknowledge the fact that I am a male and I am nowhere near the age of a woman who is going to experience menopause will be. Ideally, because I know that it can happen earlier for some women in certain circumstances, because I am familiar with this stuff. And that's really the key thing here, is the fact that I'm going to be relying on what I have learned through the certifications, like the certified coaching, menopause coaching specialist through Girls Gone Strong, also the pre and postnatal certification that I learned, or that I'm currently finishing at the moment through them as well, and just the tons of different talks that I've attended at different conferences on specifically strategies to improve menopause symptoms and get results in that stage of life. And along with all that, the experience of training people over 40 since 2015. So obviously I have been with many, many women who have experienced menopausal symptoms getting in the way of their fat burning goals and their fitness goals. So I'm going to give you all the secrets, all the details on the things that I know for a fact work, because I've seen it work in person. I didn't just read the textbooks and just assume that it worked. I've actually seen this in practice. So let's get into it a little bit. So why does this even happen in the first place? Why do women hit this stage of life and all of a sudden it feels like somebody pumped the brakes? Okay, number one, the hormonal changes. Okay, estrogen goes down, and when these hormonal changes happen, like the estrogen decreasing, as well as a number of other things, because it's not just estrogen, but in a nutshell, what it results in is body fat distribution being different. It becomes more centralized. So now, instead of being a lot towards the hips and the legs, now it starts to shift up more towards the abdomen and in the core. And that is in the presence of a calorie surplus. Okay. The reason I put that in there is because this is super important to understand. When it comes to these hormonal changes, they set the stage. They don't necessarily pull the trigger. They just set the stage for where fat will be stored if we are eating too many calories. And when you lose body fat, that will be affecting where you lose it first. So when it comes to that centralized area, that abdomen, that's probably going to be the last to go. And it's going to be proportionately a little bit more, there's going to be more fat storage there, even as you're losing body fat. So this is why things like measurements become super important, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Just understand that to set the stage here, we need to acknowledge the fact that hormonal changes make a big, big difference, because on top of all of that, setting the stage for whatever calorie intake you consume, it also makes it harder to do things on the calorie burning side of the equation, like moving more. Your non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, takes a bit of a hit. And along with that, other parts of your body will change too. So maybe you lose a little bit of muscle. Now your BMR is a little bit lower, and stuff like that can affect your metabolism and that calorie burning side of the equation. So these hormonal changes do make a big, big difference. And along with all of that, we've got the stress and poor sleep to make it even more fun. So with the hormonal changes, it becomes much harder to regulate mood in general. But on top of that, just that section of life is tough. You got kids in school at these certain age groups where the drama starts. Maybe you got family drama going on. Maybe you got work stuff going on, because like if you're in that area where it's like mid to late 40s or earlier, like you're still potentially climbing the ladder a little bit, and you're trying to do a million and one things while taking care of a family, your family, and possibly extended family. And there's a shitstorm of things that can get in the way and make things so much harder. And along with that, it affects sleep, which pretty much is like the nail in the coffin as far as the multitude of things you could possibly do to make it harder to lose weight. Now, let's talk about what most people do that doesn't work. Number one, is crash diets and endless cardio. Because when you lose fat or body weight at an accelerated rate of loss, then you will lose muscle. You will burn yourself out. You're going to feel like crap. Your hormones are going to be in a worse place than if you did it slower. And on top of that, if you do endless cardio, now you've tied this idea of I just need to burn 1,000,000 calories to lose the weight. And now exercise turns into this thing that's either a punishment or just a fat burning mechanism. And as we've learned in recent years, when it comes to studies like Dr. Hall has done, and Herman Poncer talks about it in the book Burn a little bit. Like when you do endless cardio or any form of exercise, it's really not that great for fat loss individually. Like just increasing your exercise doesn't really get the job done, because the amount of food we can consume with one singular bite can be a difference of hours of activity. So we're better off focusing on the other end of the equation, which is the intake rather than the output, and just really making sure that we are consistent on that front. Then when number two, along with crash diets and endless cardio, the big thing that a lot of people try to do is detoxes or belly fat burners or just fat burners in general, because they listen to the marketing bullshit that's out there. They're like, oh, this will kickstart your metabolism. This will do this will do that. And everybody does it. And they're like, oh, I feel great. I lost all this weight. When in reality, they're just a bunch of diuretics where they make you go to the bathroom, number one, or number two, for days and days and days. So now you've got nothing in your colon. You feel a little bit lighter because you've been basically flushed out. And on top of that, chances are, if you're doing a detox or a cleanse, you're not even eating like a good amount of food or things that have carbohydrates in them, which come with glycogen, which fills your muscles up in a good way, but it does come with water weight. So now you're missing all of that. And you see this difference on the scale, and you hop on, you're like, this is awesome. And then you hop off and you go back to whatever you were doing pre-detox or pre-cleanse or pre-fat burner, and you gain it all right back. And a lot of the times that initial like 5 pounds is good weight. That's the glycogen we're talking about, the water, the things that help you feel good throughout the day and do the things you need to do in the gym. So we don't want to fall into that trap. And along with that, the fat burners, I need to make a special mention of. The fat burners, we definitely do not want to go near, because number one, a lot of the supplements that you see all over the place are unregulated, so you don't know what's in them. Maybe they slipped a little ephedrine in there to actually make it work, since honestly, nothing will work as far as fat burners go to undo a lot of the eating that we do, other than certain things like ephedrine back in the day, where it would just crank your heart rate up to the max, and teenage football players were dying left and right. But hey, as long as you were able to lose that few pounds before vacation, I'm not trying to make light of that. That was a terrible time in supplement history, I guess you could say. But these supplement companies do not have your best interests at heart. They're just trying to make a quick buck, because they know they're selling bullshit. They just want to try and get your money until they get caught, because that's the cycle that happens. They will do this over and over again. They will sell stuff. People will get hurt. They will get liver toxicity. They will get injured. They will go to the ER. Some will die. And then the FDA steps in and says, hey, you're selling BS. You're hurting people. And then they shut up, or they shut down shop, and they open back up under a new name, do the exact same thing, and the cycle repeats. This is why the supplement industry is bullshit. It only, at best, 11% of the supplements out there actually have what they claim on the label. So do not rely on supplements. Just don't. It's a losing game. Now, let's talk about what actually works. Okay. Let's talk about the things that you need to do that are going to get you moving in the right direction. So you stop wasting your effort, stop wasting your energy, and stop getting your hopes up over things that are going to let you down. So what is the things that you need to do? Number one, calorie deficit. Okay. We can't get away from it. You may not count calories, but calories still count. Okay. At the end of the day, you need to bring them down low enough so that you are losing about a pound or a half a pound to a pound per week, which is the gold standard. That's ideally where we want to be, because that's sustainable. You can keep it going. And it's not this short-term crash diet approach where you lose a ton really fast and then you gain it all back. If you want to keep it off for the long term, go slower. So this usually results in weighing only about once a month, or if you're going to do it, go by your monthly results, not your weekly or daily results. Like if you are living and dying by the scale day after day after day, and you think it's just going to go down, 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 I'm telling you right now, that's not going to happen. It never does, because you are a human that is fluctuating constantly, especially if you are currently in perimenopause or say you're in postmenopause too. You will have fluctuations based on hormones, based on what you consume, based on stress, based on sleep. If you had a salty meal the night before, there are a million and one things that will happen day to day. That's why we take averages. So I like doing it once a month. That way you can just focus on the things that get the job done rather than just saying, how close am I? How close am I? So if you want to do that, you can do once a month. It's not going to be as perfect as getting every single day and then averaging that out, but mentally it seems to work really well. And if you are 2 to 4 pounds down at the end of the month, that's about a half a pound to a pound per week. You are spot on. And it also helps to understand the fat versus the weight. So I like using the Navy method. Again, not perfect, but it gives us an idea of, are you building muscle? Are you burning body fat? Because sometimes you find that, oh, I only lost 2 pounds of body fat. But then when you plug it into a body fat calculator that uses the Navy method, all of a sudden you find out, hey, I lost 2 pounds of weight, but I also gained about 2 to 3 pounds of muscle. So I'm really like, what would that be? 4 to 5 pounds of fat down, even though the scale only said 2. So it helps to understand how your body is changing because we're going after body composition change to improve our health. You just weighing less does not come with near as many benefits as you reducing body fat and building lean muscle mass on top of that. Which brings me to number 2, which is strength training, making sure that we are training in a way that builds and keeps your muscle through these diet phases and boosts your metabolism and makes it easier to keep the weight off over time. Because one of the key things that they notice with people on Ozempic, for example, is the people that retain the most lean body mass have an easier time keeping the weight off at the end. So if you're trying to lose super duper fast and you don't care about losing lean body mass, then just understand, if you want to go that fast, it comes with a price. You can't just say, oh, I'm all of a sudden going to do this right once I hit my goal weight. That's not how this works. So let's prioritize things like strength training and losing at a sustainable pace. And along with that, let's make it easier on ourselves. Prioritize protein and fiber. When you do this, number one, you feel so full. It is so much easier to hit the calories that you need to hit to reduce that body fat and that body weight. And along with that, getting enough protein supports retaining more muscle. So now we've got that box checked off. And with the fiber, you have improved digestion. So you don't feel as bloated. You feel like you have a little bit more energy. And on top of that, increasing fiber and also protein as well contributes to better overall health. So we're not just chasing a number on this scale. You're actually getting healthier as the process goes on. You're feeling better. This isn't some bullshit diet where you have to put up with it for X amount of time to finally feel good. No, you just feel better every single day that this goes on. Along with that, walk daily. How I mentioned in the beginning, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT, tends to go down at this stage of life. So one way that we can kind of fight against that is to keep a daily step goal and hit that over and over and over again. I like aiming for like 5 to 10K because that's reasonable for most people and it provides a ton of benefits, especially if you're getting out of that 1 to 2K range. If you go from that to like 5K, the benefits are insane. And then if you go from that to 10K, even better. But like 10K is not like some standard to hold. It's a really good place to be, but that doesn't mean that under that doesn't have a ton of benefits as well. And everybody lives different lifestyles. So that's why I like 5 to 10K, depending on where the type of life you live. Along with that, let's improve sleep and manage stress a little bit better because that will help for those of you that are concerned with your cortisol levels. Yes, that will help manage those better. And along with that, it'll help you reduce belly fat in particular when it comes to sleep and stress. Because again, when we talk about the hormonal shifts that happen during this time, sleep and stress also contribute heavily to your hormones and how they respond to calorie deficit, calorie surplus, and all of these things. So that can help. And when we say belly fat in particular, like visceral fat is one of those things that can greatly be improved by doing all this stuff together. And visceral fat, for anybody who doesn't know, is that fat along the outside of your organs that is there to protect them. But if we have too much of it, then we get into a bad situation where that could potentially negatively affect our health. So when we reduce that, you notice that your belly actually gets a little bit smaller. And one of the like top ways of also reducing this visceral fat is my final point, which is to reduce or eliminate alcohol. This will help with pretty much everything under the sun. It will help reduce visceral fat when you are in a caloric deficit. It'll help you sleep better because even though alcohol might knock you out, it's garbage for deep sleep. Like you need to get better quality sleep. And when it comes to alcohol, it just doesn't allow you to do that. And when you don't get that good sleep, it makes it harder to manage stress, which again will affect everything like we talked about. It will most likely make you have more intense cravings the next day because of that lack of sleep. And that lack of sleep also will affect the judgment center of your brain, the decision making center, and make it more likely that you're going to make an impulse decision like buying something on the way home from work that you don't want to actually have, or reaching into the pantry for that thing you know you tend to overeat on. So that will happen, along with also just generally increasing hunger. So you will not feel as satiated eating the same amount of food if you get crap sleep. So eliminating or reducing alcohol has a ton of benefits. So, along with all that, big focus, along with the X's and O's side of things, is your mindset and your expectations. Okay. Progress is going to be slower, which means it's going to be more sustainable. We really want to embrace that thought of, hey, I'm on the path. I'm getting closer to the goal. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. This is life. Like we can't just pull a full 180 and all of a sudden we're doing all the right things right away. That's not how behavior change happens. Maybe you've caught my previous episodes where I talk about the stages of competence. That stuff takes time. You don't just do things automatically one day because you wake up feeling like it. Understand that you got to build skills, and that's where this starts. Start building skills that don't go away. They just get better and they complement each other over time. And I know I said this before, but I'm going to reiterate it. Fat loss is about improving body composition and health. It's not just the scale. When you are a little bit leaner, depending on where you're at right now, yes, you can get too lean, but most people who are in the overweight, obese category, if you reduce your body fat, it can improve your health from a hormonal standpoint, from a joint health standpoint, from a metabolic standpoint overall. It can provide tons and tons of benefit. So just go at it with a health first perspective, not a, I just need to lose weight or I just need to fit into this dress or whatever. Even though those can be super powerful and should be appreciated as milestones, that cannot be the sole focus. It's got to be bigger than that. And then last thing I'll say on that when it comes to the mindset side of things is consistency always beats perfection. Perfection does not exist in long-term situations. Perfection is a short-term thing that sticks around almost as long as motivation does. It flees as quickly as you see it, it is gone. So don't rely on perfection, just rely on consistently improving and getting better. That's why I always wear this, the wristband. I know if you're listening right now, you can't see it, but if you're on YouTube, you can. I wear this thing 24/7, 365. It's the FIT40 wristband that clients get when they sign up in person, and that is better beats perfect. Okay, BBP. It's one of the core 4 values of the FIT40 program, and it's the number one real core value of the whole thing. That's why I keep it here, because it is so damn important to remember that. And if you need examples of this, because it's very easy to be like, oh, yeah, this all sounds great, but like, come on, how good does it, like, does it actually work? Well, if you have been a listener for a little bit, or maybe you're new and you need some good ones to listen to after this, go ahead and check out the episodes with Kristen, with Terry, Derek, Valerie, Shannon, Tanya, Barbara, and Jillian. All of them have put all of this in place. Like all of them have done these things and seen amazing results. So this stuff works. You just got to embrace it and really understand that this is going to get you the results that you want when you let go of those quick fix bullshit diets, fads, supplements, and all that stuff. All right. So you absolutely can lose belly fat after menopause. It just requires a smarter approach. Now, that all being said, I know I said a lot of stuff and you're probably like taking notes or trying to remember it all. And honestly, this is a lot. It is. This is stuff that I work with people for 6 to 12 months to try and get that all sorted out. And I try to condense it a little bit too. So if you're interested and you want to put all this stuff to use and you want somebody in your corner to help make sure that you get it done, that's what my First 5 program is all about. So it's all about losing that first 5 pounds sustainably, like we just talked about. So that way you keep it off for good. It's not this 5 pounds that just comes off, comes on, comes off, comes on, and we're yo-yoing all the time. Okay. Because you learn simple nutrition strategies. You learn how to do time-friendly workouts that help you build that muscle that we talked about. And you get unrivaled accountability and support. Instead of me saying like, here's your stuff, leave me alone. No, I'm talking to you pretty much on the daily, and I'm there for you every step of the way. So if that sounds good to you and you want to give it a try, go ahead, click the link down below in the show notes or the description, wherever you're watching or listening, and check it out. See if it's right for you. And if you're not quite there, no worries. I got some free workouts for you to do so you can start building that muscle mass and kind of take that first step towards getting into a place that we talked about where you can improve your health, not only when it comes to the muscle mass side of things, but also your cardio health as well. So if you haven't already, grab those Toned in 20 workouts and give one a try. See how you like it. They're awesome, in my opinion. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way through. I will see you next time. But until then, go kick some ass. Bye-bye.